Hello and welcome to Dungeon Dining with me, the dragon, Stale Rice. You know, I like to think that most people have memories of older people in their lives, teach them something about themselves. Like, say, a teacher telling students about their inspirations, sometimes uncomfortably.
Shut up! Shut up!
Or say, older siblings showing their younger siblings movies, sometimes horror movies, and no doubt traumatizing them. Or sometimes grandparents showing their grandchildren their heritage through food. Well then, with that in mind, let me tell you guys a bit about my grandmother. I grew up in Northern California, but my grandma's a native of Vietnam. In fact, I've never called her grandma. I've always called her Banoi.
The word Banoi is one of the two words used for grandmothers. This one in particular being used for grandmothers on the father's side of the family. The word Ba itself means father.
And you see the capital of California, the Sacramento. And in Sacramento is a little area known as Little Saigon. Now Saigon was the old capital of Vietnam, now known as Ho Chi Minh City. Now Banoi used to take me and my sister out to Little Saigon. Sometimes we would stop for boba and maybe grab a bite to eat. And bit by bit we would learn things about the culture. With what we ate there, either Banoi or other family could make it at home. But out of all those foods, be it pho, banh mi, spring rolls, what they didn't make at home was Bahn Boa.
Bahn is a term in Vietnamese that translates to either bread or cake. It is applied to the names of different dishes such as banh mi, banh xeo, or in this case, Bahn Boa.
So then, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, that's what we're making today. Now, bear in mind, this recipe is not a one-for-one for traditional bun bao. This is simply how I make bun bao. So without haste, let's get to the kitchen. Alrighty then, let me show you my prep. I have here our ingredients for our dough. 3 aluminum balls, I'll show you that for later. I've got a pot of hot water going, a pan for cooking our filling to render out the fat, and I have a small pot hard boiling some egg. Now let's begin with the filling. We're gonna need a pound of ground pork, half a minced onion, 1 minced carrot, 1 minced stem of green onions, 3 minced Chinese sausages, and some minced mushrooms. Particularly, you want the dry kind you gotta bring moisture back to. Now, I don't have the traditional type, but I do have chanterelle. So just soak these in water for 5 minutes and mince them up. Lastly, you need 3 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of fish sauce, a teaspoon of soy sauce, and a tablespoon of sugar. And add pepper to taste. Thankfully, I already made some. Have a look at that there. So now let's make our dough. Now I don't want to get my paws messy, so now I have here a mixture of a 1/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of water, a teaspoon of sugar, and here a teaspoon of active dry yeast. And let's prepare our other ingredients. Now first off, we need 2½ cups of flour. Now bear in mind, you could do 1 cup of self-rising flour and 1½ cups of all-purpose. But to make up for the lack of self-rising, I have here some baking powder. I just need 1 teaspoon of that, as well as some salt. Mix it in my flour mix and I should be set. Now bear in mind, at the same time I'm doing this, I'm also cooking the pork. Now we don't want to brown it per se, we're just trying to get the fat out. Granted, I like browning, so I might do that for myself. But for anyone else, that's up to you. Now here I have 1 beaten egg and half a tablespoon of lemon juice and a tablespoon and a half of veggie oil. Gonna mix those up. Gonna mix this a bit. It's looking great now, so I'm gonna turn the heat off. So let's fork up this flour mix. I'm mixing the liquids and I'm mixing those in with the dry stuff. And let's give that a quick stir. And if you need to, get in there with your hand. Now look at that, we have ourselves a ball of dough. Now like with most doughs, we're gonna knead this thing. So you can either pretend it's your childhood bully, yeah, take that, Frank, or you can treat it like it's been naughty. Either way, you gotta be. And now give me a minute, I'm gonna use our dough to make ourselves some flat little discs. Oh, and I forgot, gotta fish out those eggs. Alrighty, I've been to work since I left. No, I made discs out of the dough about just bigger than your palm. I had 2 hard-boiled eggs and I cut them into quarters. Now you're probably wondering, why 2 eggs? Now you see, when I do this, I use 1 egg for 4 bao, and I'm aiming to make 8. But there's still going to be plenty of mix left, so I'll be using that for later. Now for folding bao, I don't have the perfect method. What I do is I fold them in half, then fold them in half again, then twist them. It's not perfect, it is not the most pretty, but it works for me. And if you have a method or you found a method you want to try, go for it. But make sure you have no air pockets. Now, first off, our aluminum balls. I made 3, so I'm guessing a lot of you, like myself, do not own a steamer. But don't worry, I have a hack for you. Now you see here, I have this pot with shallow water boiling, and I have this plate small enough to fit inside of it. Also, it's heat safe, bear that in mind. And I have these balls. These balls will have the plate above the water. And I have this lid to seal in all the heat. That way, we can steam these things. And the steaming will take 10 minutes. And now I have the bowl ready. Now bear in mind I dusted them all with flour. And I took some cupcake liners and flattened them out. Put the bowl on them. I did say I would make 8, but I had enough dough for 9. Which means one of them is going to be eggless. And now, finally, we finished our batch of Bahn Boa. Gosh, those took some work to make, but in hindsight, they're actually easier to make than you'd expect. I'm very glad I did another episode on a Vietnamese recipe. After all, there are so many good foods from that culture, and not just pho. And believe me, I love pho, but there's so many other good foods. Now, memories of little Saigon are not the only reason I made Bahn Boa today. Weeks ago, Banoi got both doses of her COVID vaccine, and I'm almost due for my 2nd dose. So what did I do? So I visited her with a mask on, and I brought her my homemade Bahn Boa. Bear in mind, in 2020, I did not visit her after February. So stay safe out there, wear a mask in public, and get vaccinated ASAP. Soon we'll all be out of this if we work together. Best wishes, and in any case, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time in my dungeon. Got the perfect hard-boiled egg, baby. Woo! Oh man, it feels so good when they come out just right.